So in 2022, when Ford came out with their 3 heritage editions in 2022, first the prototype of GT105, then the Alan Mann car, and then the Holman Moody car, a lot of guys that weren't into GT40s or weren't into Fords didn't really understand the significance of the Alan Mann car. They all knew Holman Moody from NASCAR. They all knew what the prototype was from the original cars that were, in the movie Ford versus Ferrari. The Alan Mann story is a really interesting story. It goes way back to the 60s. And what happened was Alan Mann was a racer, had a great team, and he always had these iconic colors, the red with the gold stripe and the white. And what they did is they said, okay, we're gonna hire you to look after logistics in England and Europe. Shelby's great at building the cars. Holman Moody was great at building the cars. Alan Mann actually was the 3rd team that was allowed to build the cars, and they built 5 very special cars because they were all about lightweight. It was typical Brits. They were all about, like Colin Chapman, let's make it as light as possible. So they had 5 lightweight chassis built for them by Abbey Panels. 2 of the cars, they ended up putting aluminum bodies on. They were the only aluminum bodied GT40s. Those were 2 Mark Is that were literally 289s that were super light. The weight of those cars was almost 2,000 pounds even. Can you imagine a GT40 that weighs 2,000 pounds? And the big block cars, it just so happens, we have 2 of the Mark IIs here. Fabulous cars, again, lightweight chassis, lightweight fiberglass, lots of lightweight items on those cars. So in '66, at the start of the race, Graham Hill was in the Alan Mann car. It was the silver car. And he gets in the car super quick and does this giant burnout sideways and passes everybody. I think he started in 6th or 7th position, but he ended up leading the race because of the famous exit. Just a giant burnout kind of out of the starting gates. It was really cool. We bought that exact car a couple of years ago and re-restored the car and ended up taking it on a 100-mile cruise. It's unbelievable to think that that car was a 200+ mile an hour car, and yet was super drivable on the roads of California. It was a lot of fun and actually a very comfortable car to drive. So the Alan Mann story is really cool. He built some great cars. They had some great drivers, a lot of the Brits and a lot of the European drivers. He didn't get the same sort of recognition as Shelby, rightfully so. They didn't win, but he was an integral part of what made that whole team. A lot of the experimental stuff came from Alan Mann, and what a lot of people don't understand is how involved Alan Mann was with the Daytona Coupes. Again, going back 1 year in '64, Shelby won Le Mans in his class in a Daytona Coupe, but Ford said, listen, you're gonna focus on the Ford GT40 program. You can run the Daytona Coupes, but you're not gonna run the team, basically. So Alan Mann really looked after running the team, and Bondurant, I remember talking to Bondurant years ago, was really pissed off because they wanted a Brit to win, and Bondurant was, screw this, I'm gonna win, it's an American car. And rightfully so. It was an American-built car, designed and built, at least the first one was built in the US, and then the rest were copied in Italy. But Alan Mann, you gotta give credit where it's due, ran that team and ended up winning the championship for Shelby in 1965. He was very involved with the entire Shelby Ford program. The other thing that he's credited for is saving arguably some of the most significant cars on the planet. Because after racing was done in '65 and Ford said, we are done with the Cobras and the Daytona Coupes and all that sort of stuff, you're gonna focus on the GT40 program. Ford and Shelby told Alan Mann, throw the Daytona Coupes in the ocean, we're not paying any duties to bring them back into the US. They literally were gonna dump them in the ocean, and the 6 most significant Cobras ever built were gonna go missing. Alan Mann, because he was so involved with those cars and had won the championship out of his own pocket, helped save those cars and convinced Shelby to take them back. And then of course they had the famous Shelby garage sale where they sold them all off for nothing when they got back to the US. So let's give credit where it's due. That's why he deserves to have one of these heritage cars in 2022. We've had the opportunity of driving these cars on the street, driving them on the racetrack. They're fabulous cars wherever you take them. They're just as comfortable. you know, cruising. You could drive them every day if you wanted. There's not many guys doing it, but there is a couple guys that are starting to use them, and I think that's fabulous. You can take them to the racetrack. You can use them as a track day only type car. Ford even has built the Mark IIs and the Mark IVs, which are just unbelievable cars, but they're very usable, collectible cars, which makes it nice for the guys that actually want to drive them. So the history of the modern day heritage cars is really about the most significant GT40s. They were paying homage to them. So in 2017, they had the black heritage, the Le Mans winner for 66. In 2018, they had the 67 Le Mans winner, the red car with the white stripe on that car. Then the next 2 years of the heritage model was going to be the 68 and 69 Golf cars, obviously the most iconic of all the cars. After that came the Ken Miles car, the Daytona winner, another super significant car. Up until that point, all of the heritage cars paid homage to Mark II cars that were really significant. Keep in mind, there's only 9 Mark IIs left in the world today. Then they said, okay, what are the other really significant cars? They came up with a heritage model for GT105, which we were real involved with as far as doing all the promotional work since we have GT105. Then they came up with the Alan Mann car. Then they came up with the Alan Moody car. Alan Moody car is a whole nother story, how involved he was with the GT40 program. It's really cool to see in today's world, you know, manufacturers paying homage to the cars of the 60s. You get that same feeling with Ferrari with their SP3 today. You know, it basically looks like a P3, P4. They're really cool looking cars. I think it's great. And obviously the value of some of those cars is going ballistic. So again, they're gonna have future collectability, as are all of the Ford GT heritage cars right from 2017 on. A lot of people say the heyday of the collector car world, or that era, was in the 60s and early 70s, and it was a fabulous time and it was a heyday, but we're living in that same sort of heyday today where Ferrari's winning Le Mans again, GT40s or Ford GTs have won Le Mans. It's a really cool time to be in motorsport.
If you want to see more car content like this, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to visit our website to explore our curated inventory of luxury, classic, and investment grade cars.